Hello and welcome to the Student Organization Recognition Fall Meeting. We hold these meetings annually for student leadership of organizations so that they can become aware of their responsibilities and commitments as being student leaders. Every year, different policies updates or there's more resources to provide. So we make sure that we provide those through these meetings and throughout the year through our communications. Today, we'll be talking and reviewing the recognition status, steps, and deadline, our policy notes and updates, the involvement fair, additional trainings and resources, and a very brief Connect overview. For many of you, this page looks very familiar. This is our student organization recognition landing page. It has all the steps and links for students and advisors to complete org recognition. This page, as found on the screen, can be found at tinyurl.com/orgrec2223. On this page, you can also find the completion status, but you can also go to it directly at tinyurl.com/org-status2223. That sheet takes you to figure out what steps you may be missing or if you can determine if you are fully recognized yet. Also on this OrgRec landing page, we'll have this slideshow linked to it, as well as some of the policy graphics and information down at the very bottom of the landing page. So keep scrolling after org recognition meetings. The final deadline to complete org recognition steps is Friday, September 9th by noon. So the first week of school by noon. This includes the President Student Leader Certification, the President's Portal Transition, the Financial Officer or Additional Officer Student Leader Certification, Advisor Confirmation of Service, and the steps that are required with the Portal Transition. So having an up-to-date constitution, etc. So as we look at the policies we'll be highlighting in this meeting, why we are sharing these are because as the president and leaders of your organization, you are responsible for upholding and holding your members accountable to campus policies and expectations. Similar to student conduct policy, if an organization or its members break a policy, they will be held accountable through the Dean of Students Office and student activities. Some of the most frequently used policies we see student orgs and their members using or learning as a resource are our fundraising policy, our sales and solicitation policy, food policy, tabling policy, our posting policy, which also includes chalking, our special events policy, our potluck policy, recognition policy, what we're working with now, our misconduct policy, and anti-hazing. Please note that over the summer, a few of these policies have been updated and we will continue to share those out, as well as a few policies are being finalized for updates. So that while they're not up to date right now, a new policy will be pushed out very soon. When looking at all these policies and resources, we just want to make sure you know where to find them even after this presentation. So the best place to look for the most up-to-date information is on our resources tab on Connect. So uww.edu/connect is our involvement org landing page. So it helps students find orgs as well as events, but also it helps our student orgs and their leaders manage their orgs. So these policies, like the recognition policy, misconduct, can be found under the resources tab on that far right. We do also want to highlight our student org leadership guide, and that's a handbook that student leaders as well as advisors can use to find helpful resources throughout the year as well. So some policy reminders regarding fundraiser. One of our most common fundraising opportunities orgs take advantage of are doing baked goods. So in terms of that, baked goods can be homemade or store-bought, but they must be pre-packaged individually. Similarly, pre-sale food is allowed if also individually packaged. Another fundraising opportunity are raffles, and raffles, no matter who hosts them, are controlled by the state. So Student Activities and Involvement, or SAI, has a raffle license for use if you are fundraising for your orgs. Please reach out to SAI if you would like to acquire that raffle license for a fundraiser. Additionally, fundraisers must be pre-approved, and you can find that form to get that approval on Connect. Another policy reminder and potential update is our potluck policy. While it has a Word doc along with it, we find it's usually most helpful for students to view the infographic. So as we walk through this, please remember that this graphic will be on our org recognition landing website at tinyurl.com/orgrec2223. So you don't have to have it memorized. But when you're asking these following questions, please note that if there are at least one or more no's, that means it's not considered a potluck. So a potluck is defined as a gathering of people who may contribute a dish to share, which is provided by the participants only to be shared amongst the designated group while adhering to the policy. So some questions that you could ask yourself to determine if it is a potluck and within the potluck policy is, will food be prepared by current group members? Is your event free to all participants? Will those attending be current members of your organization? Will those attending be affiliated with the university? And will you follow the health and safety guidelines as outlined in the link below? If all of those questions are answered with yes, that means you are holding a potluck, so you can continue with the potluck policy. Another important policy that we see our organizations work with throughout the year is our food expenditure policies. We will be focusing on the student organization side of this infographic. So the very first question that a student organization needs to ask themselves when they're thinking about having food at an event or a meeting is, am I hosting a public, which means open to anyone, or a private, members only event? If it's public, the main question you want to ask yourself if it's on campus or off campus. If you're hosting a public on campus event, you must go through university catering. If it's a public off campus event, you can use a third-party food vendor. So frequently our orgs will do a fall kickoff cookout. And if they host it at Staron Park, because that's off campus, they can use a third-party vendor. But if they host it on the UC North Mall by the fountain, that's on campus, so they must use university catering. On the other side of the infograph, if the event is private, meaning members only, and it is off campus, then you can use a third-party vendor. If it's private but on campus, this is a little thing to note. So private on campus, if the food expenditure or donation is less than $200, you can still use a third-party vendor. If it is more than $200, you must use university catering. Again, this infographic will also be posted on our org recognition landing page, and we are also here at Student Activities and Involvement to help you through the policy if you have any questions. In addition to student activities and involvement's normal resources and services, new this year, we will also be doing event advising. I want to note that this is not an additional step that was just created for hosting events on campus. If an organization is hosting an event, let's say in the UC Hamilton room, They still always had to do event advising. It just in the past was with the reservations office. But starting this year, that event advising will be with student activities and involvement. So because of this, it provides better support to organizations and increased knowledge of resources. The University Center has a ton of different items and resources that student orgs can check out free of charge that can help build and host events. So let's say you're hosting a board game tournament. We have board games to check out. So instead of having to purchase all those board games, we can provide that to you. We do also have event kits that have anything from tickets to zip ties, things like that that students might not realize that they need to use in order to host certain types of events. But it also helps connect organizations with event experts. We plan events and student activities and involvement all the time, and we do utilize these resources that we're providing. So it helps connect the student leaders with event planners as well. Speaking of events that student activities hosts, we do have our involvement fair coming up Wednesday, September 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're still finalizing our table vendor contract. So we don't know how many tables we can host as of yet. As of now, the sign up closes on September 9th, similar to the org rec deadline, but it may close sooner pending on table availability. Additionally, you must be a recognized student org to table. So another way to encourage you to finish by the deadline. If you have any questions, please contact our involvement graduate assistant, Kayla, at involvement@uww.edu. Additionally, throughout the semester, we have additional trainings and developmental opportunities for our student orgs and their leaders. Friday, September 9th, yet another reminder that the org recognition deadline closes at noon. But also we have our SUF authorized spender training in UC 261 at noon and at 1:30. This is for any org that gets SUF funds and spends through student activities and involvement. In order to spend that money that you're allocated by the committee, you must go through, or you must have a member go through SUF authorized spender training prior to making any purchases. The following Friday, September 16th, is SUF 411, and this is for orgs and their leaders to get them more aware of what the SUF Act process looks like, the SUF Act application that usually opens up in October. So it's to prepare them on the resources they have before the application opens up. For orgs that receive SUF funds, the process usually, application process usually opens up in October to apply for the next year's funding. So this October, orgs will be applying for the academic year of 2023 to 2024. We're also continuing our org support series this semester. There'll be Tuesdays at 4 p.m. in the WCC once a month. So we'll kick off our first one on Tuesday, September 20th with things to know and an org leader social. And this will help you connect with other org leaders and other orgs to get feedback, brainstorm, problem solve, but also to plan, potential collaboration and opportunities. On Tuesday, October 18th, we'll be hosting a session on how to build team, how to provide your members a sense of belonging within your group, and therefore hopefully retain them a little bit better while using free resources or events that the university hosts. Tuesday, November 15th, we have a session for planning for spring. So how to have a successful spring, what that looks like now that you have almost one semester under the belt, and really setting your group up for success the second half of the year. With our Connect program, as I spoke about earlier, it's a tool for students looking to get involved, as well as those students already involved with organizations, how to manage their organization. So you can find Connect at uww.edu/connect. And when we are working with the general student population, we have them look at that top screenshot, the organizations tab, to explore student orgs and their profiles, their descriptions, things like that, but also that events tab as well too, to explore involvement opportunities. As a student org leader, you do also have access to the admin dashboard side of Connect, which is the second bottom screenshot, which looks completely different than the top. So you'll know if you're in the right place, whether you want to just search organizations or if you want to work on the back end of your organization. To get into the admin dashboard, you go to the upper right corner where that profile icon is on Connect. You log in. Once you log in, you go back up to that upper right corner and you can click Admin Dashboard. That will then take you to that second bottom screenshot. Once you get to the admin dashboard, that big plus on the upper left-hand corner helps you edit your portal, create events, make forms, opportunities like that. So if your org wants to add to its description, so that way it's a little bit more straightforward for the general student when they're exploring opportunities. If they need to edit the meeting time or location of their meetings so that new members know where to find them, that's where you can do it through the organization creation aspect on the admin dashboard. Similarly, you can also add events, and that can be members only or organization only events that people only a part of your org can see, or they can be public facing events too. So you can create all those different filters and categories when you're adding events. But another unique thing is that you can also take attendance if you have events. So whether it's your weekly meeting for your group and you want to use Connect to take attendance, you would have to put an event in the calendar for that. And how we take attendance is if you look at the bottom screenshot, you see the different tab categories of event title, organization, location, date, time, and PIN. That 4-digit PIN is unique to every individual event that is created, and you use that PIN that we will show you with the Connect Presence app. Additionally, once you've taken attendance, you can export the list with Excel. You can add attendees. You can email attendees all throughout that event's attendance tracking. This is an easy way to send a follow-up survey, or if it's you want to ask a question to the members that attended the meeting last night. You can pull that attendee list pretty easily or email them directly through Connect. So that 4-digit PIN we talked about, if you download the Checkpoint Presence app, you do the PIN login function. You don't have to log in or do admin login. You switch to the PIN login function, enter that 4-digit PIN. From there, you can use, if you look at the bottom screenshot, you can enter students in with their barcode. So if you scan their Hawk card at their front barcode, you can do that, or you can do manual entry via entering their campus email address. Again, we want to highlight the resources tab that will have specific policies, as well as our student org handbook too. And for those groups that are SUF funded, through student activities and involvement, we do update your budgets through the budget tool, the finance tool on the admin dashboard of Connect. So that's when you're in the admin dashboard on that left side dashboard, it's that $ money sign. It is manually entered and updated. So if you make a purchase, it's not going to be, like a bank app. It's not going to be automatically updated as pending or things like that. but we do update it regularly. We are working on finalizing this current year's budgets, so keep checking in on the most up-to-date as the school year starts. Lastly, we just want to remind you that student activities and involvement is here to help. We are happy to help via email or phone, or of course by scheduling appointment. We have involvement interns, our involvement graduate assistant, and a couple staff member that are here to support orgs and their leaders through any questions or supportive resources. Our easiest way to contact us is involvement@uww.edu or by calling our front desk phone. Lastly, thank you so much for the work you are doing to support your student org and your members. We appreciate it and hope you have a good start to your semester.